President Trump, maybe you should invite Bishop Barron.
Well, more news from the administration. The White House Faith Office is holding several special events for Holy Week.
President Trump announced the White House's plans for Holy Week, and also an announcement that is nothing short of, well, shocking.
Joining us now for more is White House correspondent Kelly Wright. So, Kelly, give us a breakdown of what's happening this week at the White House.
Well, Gordon, let me begin with first by stating what a difference a presidency make, because this time last year, you'll recall that President Joe Biden, and President Trump pointed this out, by the way, that President Joe Biden celebrated the most sacred day on the Christian calendar, celebrating that as a day of transgender visibility. This year, with President Trump at the helm, he is redirecting that, celebrating Jesus Christ. And in going forward and having activities here during this Holy Week. Tomorrow night, Wednesday night, they'll have an Easter dinner. And then on Thursday, they'll have an Easter prayer service and worship service for the staff here at the White House. They will meet along with listening to Franklin Graham, as well as Jensen Franklin, as well as Greg Laurie. So it's quite a lineup of people coming here, and this is all being sponsored by the White House and the White House Faith Office.
So let's break this down a little bit. Firstly, I think it's great that a president is celebrating Easter and Jesus instead of transgenderism. Obviously, all Christians can agree that that is amazing. I'm not sure I agree with Trump calling Biden out on it, though. More on that in a second. The main thing that struck me is the lineup of speakers or preachers that are going to be at the White House. The names mentioned are all evangelicals that I believe teach and heed Christianity light.
There are times I'm sure you thought it was pretty dark, but look what God has done.
It seems if the president was really trying to celebrate Easter and do it justice, he would include evangelicals, Catholics, and the Orthodox. The point is, this seems a little bit fishy to me. It seems that this is more of a political move than a deep desire to honor Christ on the most sacred day of the year. Maybe they should go to church rather than bring evangelical church to them. Or maybe invite Bishop Barron. But it isn't all bad. The announcement that the president gave is nothing short of miraculous. So while the Holy Week plans might be a little bit politically motivated, you got to listen to this announcement. It's nothing short of just shocking.
Well, the president released a proclamation on Palm Sunday honoring the Christian faith. What was in the proclamation, and why is that so important?
It's very important, and here's why. It will mean a lot to bolster the faith of many Christians in America. And I'm going to read some of the excerpts from that proclamation, not the whole thing, but it's very, very in-depth. He goes on to state that this Holy Week, my administration renews the promise to defend the Christian faith in our schools, our military, our workplaces, hospitals, and throughout government. And then he states, we will never waver in safeguarding the right to religious liberty, upholding the gospel, and protecting life and protecting God in our public square. And here's something else, Gordon, that really captured Franklin Graham as well. He stated, as we focus on Christ's redeeming sacrificial love, and to his love and his humility and obedience in helping us in every situation and difficult and uncertain times, we call for and pray for an outpouring of the Holy Spirit upon this nation, upon our nation.
The most shocking statement in this proclamation is when it says Christ's redeeming and sacrificial love. That is a theologically accurate and robust statement that really gets at the heart of the Christian faith and the gospel. It should amaze us that a president in a secular and modern society is saying such a thing. Not to mention the idea of the outpouring of the Holy Spirit. Of course, this is said in a very evangelical way, but the idea that the President of the United States perceives the need for the Trinitarian God of the Bible to pervade a country and see it as an answer to prayer, that is a miracle, and we should be celebrating such an announcement. One more thought and clip can be garnered from this report. It's a part where Franklin Graham, the famous evangelical related to Billy Graham, shares his enthusiasm about the announcement.
I think this proclamation is historic. There has not been in my lifetime a president that has communicated the gospel as clearly as he has. And now he's not a preacher, but he's just this proclamation. He gave one of the best sermons for Easter that many pastors will give from the pulpit. Donald Trump is not afraid of his faith. He's not ashamed of his faith, and he's willing to let the world know it.
Listen to this part one more time.
And now he's not a preacher, but he's just this proclamation. He gave one of the best sermons for Easter that many pastors will give from the pulpit.
While I think we should have great optimism about this announcement, there is still a little caution that I believe Christians should have. Firstly, are Trump's intentions motivated by politics? Is he just trying to keep the evangelicals happy? Or is this really about Easter? Is this really about Jesus? I hope the latter is true. Number two is, if Trump is capable of giving a better sermon than most pastors, what kind of faith is being explained, heralded, and assimilated within the United States? Be thinking about that. Christianity light should not be prevailing. Christianity that is robust and historical should be. So, again, my plea, President Trump, maybe you should invite Bishop Barron. These two thoughts are really getting me thinking that maybe it isn't all good, but I don't think we can overlook, on the other hand, however, just how amazing that announcement is. So, I guess a takeaway would be something like this: we should always be thankful and grateful to God when prayers are answered and the Christian faith begins to assimilate and be a part of the greater American culture. I don't think that's the issue. But we also need to be cautious and wary, because oftentimes the Christian faith that's being propagated by our modern and secular society is not a robust, theologically accurate, and historically grounded faith, but it's a very, very diluted, light version of it. Just be thinking about some of those things today. And remember that Christianity is Christ, and without Christ, there is no Christianity. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.